I'm Timory McDonald, the owner and house photographer for Aloha Ever After. Today I wanted to share with you a little bit of what I know about planning a wedding on Kauai to help get you started. So first of all, what is the most important thing to most brides? I'd say love. They want to have a beautiful romantic day with the person that they love most in the world. And this starts off as this beautiful fairy tale, and it really can be. However, where I normally encounter most brides is when they've looked online about this beautiful fairy tale and they become really overwhelmed and discouraged at the fact that there are so many companies offering so many similar things that they feel like they're comparing watermelons to oranges. So in the end, it's not feeling like the fairy tale yet because they're basically so overwhelmed by which company to choose that they're not enjoying the process. So I speak to a lot of brides at this time, and it helps, I think, a lot to have a relaxed person on the other end of the line who'll pick up the phone and be able to answer some questions. So this is one service that I offer to people just to try to help out, because I feel kind of badly. I've looked online and tried to compare some companies myself, and I have to say the packages are really different from each other with similar prices, and most of them aren't broken down item by item of what they actually cost. So I can understand why this is really frustrating. So what is the wedding industry's biggest problem? I think it's basically this sense of causing overwhelm in the brides who are out there just trying to pick the right company. And this overwhelm and stress basically is difficult because brides are trying to figure out everything at once. They're not only trying to figure out the marriage license and where they want to get married, but the flowers and possibly cake or cider and who's the minister going to be. And it's just too much. In my opinion, it's not supposed to be done in that order or all at once. So I have spoken to a lot of brides, actually a few just even this week, who were basically all but in a state of almost overwhelmed to where they barely even wanted to do it anymore. We talked for 20 minutes or so. Sometimes it takes, 5 or 10 minutes depending on their questions. And at the end they were just like almost jumping for joy that they finally had a sense of renewed interest and passion for it because it had become such a task that they didn't even want to do it anymore. And this is something I really love doing. I love bringing that joy back to the fairy tale that Kauai really is, and I'm so lucky to live here. So there's 2 steps that you need to be doing first, in my opinion, and those are basically picking which island you're going to get married on and picking your wedding coordination company. Once you've decided for sure that it's Kauai, you don't need to actually pick the beach you're going to get married on, but obviously you need to know to pick out a wedding coordination company that it is for sure going to be Kauai. Once you've done that, step number 2 is after you've emailed with whoever that you're choosing between, get on the phone with a few people and talk to them. And I think if you check in with your intuition or kind of a gut test, you'll be able to tell easily. Who do you have a good connection with? Because at the end of the day, after you pay for all the airline prices and everything else, a couple $100 here or there for a package is not going to make or break most people. But a good feeling and a good connection with the person you talk to is going to make everything run more smoothly. So step number 2 is picking this wedding coordinator. Notice I haven't talked yet about any of the details like the minister or the flowers or the dress or anything like that, because you need to set the base for your wedding, and then everything else will be able to be built up from it in a nice, sturdy, and easeful way. So after you've set this base, I would say, go ahead, put your deposit down. You don't need to have the whole wedding figured out in order to be able to commit to a coordinator. With our company, it's a $250 deposit, and it will enable you to be able to set in stone the date, the time, and all of your vendors so that you know for sure you can get the vendors that you want reserved earliest, which I recommend to do because it has happened quite frequently where the minister or videographer of someone's choice is just unavailable because they waited too long to make that initial commitment. That I'd say is the scariest part for brides. You can't look at someone, see them in the eye, and $250 isn't a huge amount of money, but it's still a good chunk of money, and most people are nervous at this point. I'd say do your best to go ahead and jump off that cliff. It's $250, and it basically enables you to really develop a relationship with someone who's going to be there for you throughout your wedding process. Once you do that, the dominoes should just roll out in front of you, because then it is the wedding coordinator's job to basically present you information in a clear, easy way that you don't have to go off and research, and it's your job to make the decisions. So no longer will you have to do all this online research and trying to figure things out. At this point, you basically need to sit back, get an email or have a telephone conversation with your coordinator, and then make some decisions, generally 1 or 2 at a time in a way that's not overwhelming. So it is my job to be the wedding coordinator, and it's your job to be able to basically sit back and let me present the information in a way that makes it easy for you, 1 step at a time. So for example, on my website, I have a wedding planning checklist that you're welcome to use, and it walks you through some things step by step in a way that helps anyone doing a wedding anywhere, especially beach weddings, be able to relax. So my job is to be the wedding planner, your job is to be the bride, and you have so many things to decide as it is. You have the wedding dress and getting the plans here. Just be careful not to take on too much at a time. So rest assured, once you make that decision, the rest of the things will kind of fall into place and the dominoes will all come together. And some of those decisions it's fine to leave till later. Like, for example, if you're going to have specifics on your wedding flowers, those can be added in later. They don't need to all be in the initial contract. And it's okay. It's not dropping the ball, and it's not doing it completely. It's the natural order and process and flow of things, and it works. I've done hundreds, maybe thousands of weddings, and that natural flow takes people in a direction that unravels into this beautiful, the fairy tale that they wanted for their wedding, and it just takes a little bit of time. So in the next video, we're going to show you about actually how to plan your beach wedding on Kauai. So I hope you enjoy these videos and they help be able to relax, and please check out the next one. Aloha.